Hey guys, welcome to the MangaMark channel. Today I am doing a video of my theories and predictions for One Piece. If you are new to the channel, I've been watching and reacting to One Piece up until this point. I'm about to start Wano, just finished the Reverie. So this is a good point, we stopped there. Loads of things revealed during the Reverie that I'm gonna get into here. And this is just, I've done a couple of these videos where it's a good point to stop, give my thoughts on what's happening in the world, what I think is going to happen, my theories, throw them out there. And then, like always with these videos as well, I am going to avoid the comments. So I am not going to be reading these comments. So if you ask any questions or anything like that to me, and you know, if you get anything you want to ask me, wait until the next video. You know, if you want to go crazy in the comments and talk about how right I am, how wrong I am, go crazy. I'm not going to see it. Okay. So, yeah, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. Just mostly going to be Reverie related. It's because of the things that were getting dropped. We'll start off small and we'll work our way up, right? So, the first thing I was thinking about was Fujitora, right? Fujitora obviously being there, he wants to get rid of the 7 Warlords. We know this, right? There was a statement made that he wants to talk to Cobra and he wants to talk to King Riku. Now, this is why this is the simple one, because like you can put 2 and 2 together here. I think he's getting those 2 kings on board because those are the 2 countries that were affected by the Warlords. You know, Crocodile and Alabasta, Doflamingo and Dressrosa. So he's going to use those 2 to kind of get, probably, I don't know if they need to put it to a vote. I don't know how the Reverie works in terms of like, can the kingdoms make these decisions? Or does it just come down to the world government? I don't know, but I think that's the angle that Fujitora's taken. And I respect it, you know, he's going around Ake Inu, because he knows that, you know, Ake Inu's not going to do anything. He is the army man, the world government man. He's going to just do what they tell him. Fujitora's looking out for the people. But yeah, that's my thought process there, right? In terms of Kuma, I'm thinking, right, it's very interesting that he was revealed to be the former king, the tyrant. The nickname makes a bit more sense now. But then Bonney was posing as like the Queen Dowager of that country. And so it makes me think maybe that, like, maybe Bonney is Kuma's daughter. And obviously when she aged herself up to make herself look like maybe like Kuma's mum, who will be the Queen Dowager of, I can't remember the name of it, but you know what I mean, to get in there. And it makes more sense now what was going on with Bonney during Sabode. You know, when they were broadcasting what was happening at Marineford, I thought that she was getting upset and getting angry because she knew Ace or something like that. But there was or something to do with Whitebeard. Kuma didn't even enter my mind. But yeah. And I don't know if, like, my thought process was she's angry at Ake Inu because he's the one that's killed Ace, or Blackbeard because he's the one that's, you know, Whitebeard. But now I'm thinking maybe she's talking about Vegapunk because of, like, if it is her dad, he's lost, you know, he's lost his personality, he's became a machine for the world government. Or, my other thought process was that he blames Luffy. You know, because Kuma kind of did everything in his power at the end there to protect Luffy and the crew, and basically gave up his last humanity for that deal. I don't know. It's nice to see there's a plan in place. I'm devastated that all this got set up and we didn't get resolution to it during Reverie. With Bonney, with Sabo, the Revolutionary Army there to get Kuma out of there. But that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm hoping we get a backstory, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Emu. Let's just get into this. You know, I was going to build up to it, but let's get into it, right? Emu. I've got nothing for this character. They're very shrouded in mystery, right? But the fact that the 5 elders are bowing down, you know, sitting on the throne. A couple of things at play here, right? The giant frozen straw hat. The fact that they're walking with all these wanted posters and they're cutting them up and they're stabbing them. We saw Luffy's, we saw Blackbeard, we saw Shirahoshi, and then at the end they were holding Vivi. Why? Right? Obviously, I think it's got to have something to do with, obviously, the Nefertari family. We know that they were the only ones that didn't become celestial dragons and chose to stay in their kingdom. But it's the question that the 5 elders asked that's got me. It was which light should be extinguished from the world this time. This time. Right? So, the fact that the mermaid princess was there, I'm thinking that Joy Boy was the light that was extinguished back then. You know, we know the promise between Joy Boy, Mermaid Princess. We don't know what the promise was, but we know there was a promise, and that Noah was for that, right? We know that Charlie has seen this vision of the future with Luffy with Fishman Island burning. I think that that's going to be Luffy's going to come and save Fishman Island and fulfill that promise. Whatever it may be, but yeah, I get why. Even without that, right? Even without that and that connection to Joy Boy, I can see why Luffy and Blackbeard are there, because they have the D in their name, right? Makes sense. And then obviously Shirahoshi with Poseidon, right? Game changers. But what is going on with Vivi? And what's worrying me is it seemed like it was Vivi's poster they were holding at the end. Which scares me, because it's as if they've made a decision that it's going to be Vivi that gets snuffed out. We can't be having that. We've not got anybody that, like, who did we bring with us? Pell? You know? We've got Leo and Sai there from, you know, the Grand Fleet. But what did we do here? You've got admirals there. So, I'm worried. But then Sabo's there. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think it's going to have something to do with the Nefertari family. I can't wager a guess unless we get like a flashback. I need a flashback of, like, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, because I think that's endgame stuff, is when we're going to find out about Void Century things, or at the start of the world government. So yeah, I'm just, that one, I have to leave it up in the air, because I can't like put anything together for Vivi as to why Vivi would be involved. I don't think we even got an explanation of what happened to Vivi's mother, did we? I think she died when Vivi was really young. But yeah, no. I'm just hoping that she's going to be okay. We can't lose Vivi, right? Shanks. What's the deal there? Right? I've had a couple of different thoughts about it. Right? And the thing that gets me is, even before I get into this Shanks thing, is Emu, who are they? Like, because they're so shrouded in mystery that I wonder how much people actually know about them, besides the 5 elders. Like, do all the celestial dragons know about Emu? Do the top brass at the Marines know about Emu? Obviously, the kingdoms don't. The kings and queens of, like, these affiliated countries, they don't know. But then that leads into Shanks in terms of, I was thinking, is Shanks a celestial dragon? But then, if that was the case, he would have had to leave Marijoa when he was, like, very young. And it makes me think, are we going to get a flashback of, like, young Shanks and young Doflamingo as, like, celestial dragons in Marijoa? It would be interesting. But yeah, he would have had to have left when he was really, really young. And then what's confusing about it is the fact that obviously it makes more sense as to that line when Shanks showed up at Marineford where Sengoku said, because it's you, we'll honour your wishes, kind of thing. Why would they say that? Why would they say that if there wasn't something there, right? But why did the 5 elders not treat him with such respect as well? Like, we saw what happened to Doflamingo's mum and dad. Once they decided to leave, that was it. You are no longer a celestial dragon. You wanted to live with the normal people. That's you now. Ain't no coming back. So I don't know. I really don't know about the Shanks one in terms of if he's not a celestial dragon. The other thing I was thinking is that it wasn't Shanks. Could be a relative of Shanks. Or someone who has took on the appearance of Shanks. Because I realised that they didn't show you one side of his face. They didn't show you the side with the scars. So, but then even at that, you would still have to have the link with the celestial dragons. Because then how did they just walk in there? So that's my thought process. And it's, if that is the case, if Shanks is a celestial dragon, like, think about it, Doflamingo was a celestial dragon. He left when he was really young, but he seemed to know about the secret that was being kept in Marijoa. So I wonder if Shanks does as well. I wonder if Shanks knows about that giant frozen straw hat. I wonder if he knew the significance of that when he passed the hat from Roger down to Luffy. Like, has Shanks been, like, just planning this? Like, has Shanks had it all worked out? I don't know. What was Shanks doing in the East Blue? Just carrying around a devil fruit? Like, what was the need for him to go to the East Blue? The quietest of the seas. I don't know. It's making me think maybe that meeting with Luffy wasn't as, you know, coincidental. But I really don't know. I really don't know. I think I'm clutching at straws in terms of Shanks because I don't want him to be a bad guy. I really don't want him to be a bad guy. After all that we've been through in this series and the way we look at Shanks, you know, and like the way how much like Luffy, anytime Shanks is mentioned, you see him light up. You know, that is his idol. If he turned out to be a bad guy, oh, it would be devastating. It would be absolutely devastating, right? In terms of Whole Cake Island, now I threw this theory out here before, but I want to just put it out there again, because of what happened with Big Mom. I'm thinking because Big Mom ate Mother Caramel and obtained her devil fruit, I'm thinking definitely Blackbeard, once he threw that, you know, big sheet or whatever it was over Whitebeard, he had the big massive holes in his chest. It's going to have something to do with like maybe eating the heart or something. It's going to be something like that. You have to eat a part of them that contains the essence of the devil fruit before it goes. And then you can take it for yourself. Right? Just going to throw that out there. And while we're on the subject of Whitebeard, Weevil, I just don't want him to be Whitebeard's son. See, when I first saw him, I was like, oh no, please don't be. Please don't be. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I was gutted that when Cat Viper was talking to Marco couldn't give us a definitive statement. He said that the lady, Weevil's mum, was on a crew with Whitebeard when they were younger, which concerns me, right? But I don't know. I don't think so. My thought process was that Weevil was a clone or an attempted clone at Whitebeard. You know, because of all the, you see that all the scars that he has, it's like Frankenstein kind of thing. I think it's like she's tried to create another Whitebeard, and it's telling this, oh, that was your dad, because he is supposed to be really strong. He's supposed to be really strong. Apparently, he's been going around trying to wipe out the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates, who we know are strong. But I just don't know what her motives are. If that is the case, like, why is she doing this? What's the deal? But yeah, that's my thought process there. As it's going to be a clone of Whitebeard. And I really hope it's not his son. I really hope that's not the legacy that Whitebeard's left behind. Because, like, if Whitebeard knew about him, if it is his son, there's no way that he wouldn't have been there. Like, we saw how he treated his crew as his sons. So there's no way he would have let his blood, you know, go on without knowing him. No chance. And if that is the case, like, why did she and this son of Whitebeard. That's the reason I'm thinking it's a clone, is that they just appeared during the time skip, like after Whitebeard was dead. So where was this, you know, where was this Weevil, like, during all that time that Whitebeard was there? I think she's come out now because she knows, like, right, okay, well, they can't call me a liar because he's dead, right? Yeah, that's my thought process there. The Rocks Pirates. This was a crazy one that got thrown out. A crew that basically, the way it was described by Gap is like it was their time. They were the ones that kind of ran the sea before Roger came. Right? So I'm thinking, we know Big Mom and Kaido were part of this crew. Right? And then it must have been Roger emerged, Whitebeard probably as well, and they became the kind of leaders of the generation. But I wonder what the captain was like. You know, to have Big Mom and Kaido on your crew. Both of them like younger, in their prime, probably. I wonder what age they are. You know? If it was before, if they were saying it was before Roger. Obviously, you'd think that Whitebeard is older than Roger. But those two I wasn't sure about. But yeah, and Big Mom's saying that she's going to show up in Wano. So if that is the case, I'm hoping that when her and Kaido reunite, we get like a flashback. Give us a flashback to show us, right, here's what the Rocks Pirates were all about. I don't know. Hold on a second, I just thought about something there. Are any of Big Mom's children going to be Kaido? Like Kaido's the dad? Oh. And if that is the case, you've got to think it's the kind of first one. So like maybe even like Pearl Sparrow or who's the triplets again? Katakuri, Oven, Daifuku? Just saying, you know. We know that Big Mom got around. Big Mom got around back in her heyday. She's had a few children. And if her and Kaido were youngsters on that ship together, I'm just saying, could be. That could have been the start of Big Mom's conquest. Oh, Jesus. Right? But, yeah, I'm just going to leave that one out there. And hopefully that, you know, kind of comes back. Yeah. It's tough when you think of like all the things that were kind of set up in the Reverie. A lot of the ones I've just mentioned there. But the ones that Shanks, I really want to know what's happening with Shanks. I'm worried about that. I really don't. I'm hoping I'm right that it's going to be an alternative. You know, either somebody else or someone that can take the form of Shanks. I really hope it's not. Oh God, my mind's going to dark places. There. I was thinking, oh no, they've killed Mr. 2. They've killed Bon Clay and they've took his power. You know? Don't do that. Don't do that, please. He's got to be okay. He's a future Straw Hat, still in my mind. Right? He's an impel down, he's fine. But yeah. And I that was interesting as well. Where Doflamingo mentioned about Magellan protecting him in prison. Because he thought they were going to try and silence him. So, there's a lot. You know, I think that we're probably not going to get an answer to a lot of these until we get more information about the Void Century. That's going to be the key. Especially with, like, I think the likes of Emu and that Straw Hat, Frozen Straw Hat, that's not going to be answered for a while. I don't think that's going to be answered for a while. In terms of like the things that I'm most curious about right now are Shanks, obviously, right, because of this. Shanks, Emu, and what the deal is there, and like what's going on with Vivi. The Void Century, like and hand in hand with that, Joy Boy, and what's the story? I had something else in mind there and I forgot what it was. I've completely forgot what was the other thing. Oh, that's going to do my head in. That's going to do, but the Joy Boy stuff can. Oh, Vegapunk, that was it. Vegapunk. I really want to meet Vegapunk and like just find out what his deal is, because he's been mentioned so much through the series and we've not even got like a glimpse of him. The most we got was like little silhouette glimpses of him in Punk Hazard when you got little flashbacks of Caesar, but that's about it. But personality wise, his motives in working for the world government, because the way it was described when Frankie was at his kind of hometown, it was as if like he made all these inventions for like the benefit of the people, you know, but the world government is probably only interested in, you know, the weapons of destruction, like that. So, because the thing is as well, you don't know, like he could be, there's no way that the world government is just going to let him be. If he's that smart, they want him under their banner. So, for all we know, Vegapunk could be a captive for the world government. You know, it's the fact that he put that. What's giving me that bit of hope there is the fact that he put that program into Kuma to look after the ship for the Straw Hats. I don't think, if he was truly loyal to the world government, there's no way he would have done that. And like, because we know how desperate they were to get Luffy after the war. He's done that on the down low for Kuma. There's no way the world government would have signed off on that. There's no way that if Akainu and that knew about that, they would not be sitting there at that ship waiting for the crew to show up. No way. I think that's been a personal deal between Vegapunk and Kuma. And Vegapunk would not do that if he was fully on the side of the world government. I've got thoughts about Dragon as well, right? Because as I was talking about the Celestial Dragons, the question in my mind is, how did Dragon become a revolutionary if he's the son of a hero in Garp? And it's going to be, and it's the thing that always comes up in these theories and predictions is Luffy's mum. We know nothing about her. Nothing. And you can throw out some crazy theories. You can throw out some crazy theories like Luffy's mum was a celestial dragon. Luffy's mum was taken as a slave. And that kind of kicked off Dragon's hatred for them. They're responsible for her death. I don't know. There's loads of different things that could have went down. I think she's dead. I think she's probably dead. Because the thing that gets me is that Garp doesn't seem to hold any animosity or anything for Dragon. You know? But we know that Garp doesn't like the Celestial Dragons. But the way he described Dragon to Luffy was, oh yeah, your dad is a revolutionary. You know, it didn't seem like a, oh, I don't talk about him, or like he's a disappointment or anything like that. No. That one is good. I think that's going to be, again, that's going to be an endgame kind of thing. We're probably not going to get anything to do with that until Luffy actually meets his dad. Right? And I was hoping we were going to get that. Because like there are a couple of people. I want Luffy to meet Dragon. I want Luffy to meet Shanks. Because obviously they set up at the start of the series. And I'm wondering what one of those is going to come first. We've been waiting for this Shanks reunion for so long. I've been dying for him to meet Dragon ever since it was revealed that it was his dad. Before anybody gets into it, I know Logtown does not count, right? They didn't have a conversation. I'm not accepting it, right? And Shanks showing up at Marineford and saving and giving Luffy the hat back, again, he needs to be conscious. And I need an actual interaction, right? But yeah. It's... There's a lot. There's a lot for such a short arc. They dropped a lot of stuff on us. But what I like about these ones is that Oda gave us enough that you can make speculations. You know? It wasn't like other times, like during Marineford and things like that, where like I'll give the Bonney Kuma for an example. During Sabode, when Bonney was saying those things and crying, he just left that there. So you're like, who's she talking about? What is going on? Like, what's the connection there? And then the next time we saw her, she was captured by Akainu. And then now she's away from Akainu. How did she get away? Probably because she's royalty. Right? But this time, they kind of gave you, and you saw that, okay, she's talking about Kuma. She's there, she's crying, she can't forgive them. So, and you got the thing about the Queen Dowager and the kingdom, and it's the same kingdom that Kuma was the king of. So, he's starting to kind of put the pieces out there that lets you make like educated guesses. But again, it's Oda, he could pull a swerve. He could pull a swerve and just be like, nah, nonsense. My thought process around Joy Boy is that he was a giant. Joy Boy was a giant. Wore a giant straw hat. I don't know why Roger ended up, like, I don't know if it was like maybe the same as kind of like Luffy in Fishman Island. You know, once he became the hero, all the kids started wearing the straw hats. Maybe it's similar to that. Like maybe the people loved Joy Boy and they wore these straw hats to kind of emulate him. And that one's been passed down through the generations and went from Roger to Shanks to Luffy. Yeah, guys, I don't know, like, I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything else that I could throw out there. These are my thoughts. These are my thoughts on the stuff from the Reverie. You get, like I said, you guys can go into the comments and talk about it and see, like, if I'm way off, if I've got something right, discuss it, because I'm not going to see it, right? And I'll need to kind of take a notice. I'll need to write some of these down so that if something is revealed or we get something, you know, I can tick that one off. For the longest time, like in the previous videos, at least with this one here, there was a kind of structure to it because of the Reverie. Whereas in the older videos, I was just thrown, like, I think that I must have, leading up to Marineford, that I was adamant that Robin was going to be Roger's daughter. I thought that Gold T Roger was Robin's dad for sure. And that's, you know what? That's not been disproven. So just keep that one there as well, right? That prediction that I've had since, I don't know, Skypiea. Maybe not as early as that. When we started getting the flag, maybe Water 7. Because that's when we started getting into the Robin's backstory. Since all the way back then. Let's keep that one out there, because we've still had nothing about our dad yet. Right? But yeah, guys, that's it. Those are my thoughts where I am in One Piece, what I'm hoping to see, what I think about certain things. And like I said, discuss it in the comments, and if you have any questions for me, put them in the next video. We'll be back with the character rankings in the next one. Yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.